be.
Welcome to Center Cup. I'm Kami Serino, joined as always by Will Neary here today. Nick Newmeyer is out on the course, actually.
Too good for us, I think.
Not playing though. He's not taking a vacation. He is working, and so we will talk today, recapping the Byron Nelson, obviously, and kind of talk through a few of the other tournaments that took place over the weekend. But let's start with where Nick is right now, actually out in beautiful Carlsbad, California, for the NCAA Women's National Championship going on right now. How about a little update from there, Nick? Or Will, excuse me.
It's okay. You just miss him so bad. You're already messing up our names. It's okay. It's okay. No, it's we're jealous of Nick right now, though. It is also 80 degrees in Chicago, so there are worse things going on than being here.
We're having our own Carlsbad day out here. Actually.
Yeah, pretty much is Carlsbad. We were out on the beach earlier. It's hard to complain. But we are not watching golf. That's one thing we're not doing. That's why we're jealous of Nick, because he's out in Carlsbad watching the best college golfers in the world play right now. It is round 4 of the first step of this national championship. The top 8 teams after today will be filtered into the team match play situation. We've already had a cut as of yesterday. Northwestern did make that cut, although it does appear that they are going to finish dead last of the 15 teams that made that cut, I believe. So that's unfortunate, but you know what? We're happy campers here as Wildcats ourselves. But so quick update, as you might expect, Stanford running away with this from a team perspective. None of them I can pop the leaderboard up here real quick if we want. None of the women on the Stanford team are really contending for the individual title, but as a team they are 20 under, leading the way there. And again, this is the final round before it's cut down to 8 teams. You can see here the projected cut is at +6, so there'll be a little drama around that cut line, it looks like, with Iowa State and Florida just one shot outside of the cut line at the moment. Did it just flip? Now Florida's 2 shots outside the cut line. Arizona State and Duke are on the cut line. Arkansas 1 shot inside. And then from an individual perspective, let's see here. We got Farrah O'Keefe leading the way at 12 under par, Catherine Park at 9 under, Kirsten Angosta at 8 under, Rianne Maliksi at 7 under, Mega Gane at 7 under, familiar name there, Kira Van Kahn at 7 under as well, and then a bunch of names pretty crowded in this area, including Maya Ortengren, Maria Jose Marin, a couple others that we're familiar with, but it's coming down to it, and I always love when it gets to match play. Obviously, anything can happen when you get there. I think, Stanford, what did they win by? 38 shots, 38 shots the other week.
Yes.
So we it was somewhat expected. Obviously, this team is a powerhouse. So we are not necessarily surprised to see Stanford at the top of the leaderboard, but you never know what can happen when we get to match play. Is anybody really likely to upset them? No, probably not, but you never know. Anything can happen. There are some really good. Obviously, we saw from Arkansas, Maria Jose Marin. She's a powerhouse in her own right, winning the Augusta National Women's Amateur. We talked about Farrah O'Keefe, who's leading the way. She could easily, she could knock off somebody from Stanford, and it only takes 1 or 2 upsets to really flip the script here. So anything can happen as we get into that top 8 match play, which I believe starts tomorrow. So we're right into the drama there. Unfortunately, the Northwestern Wildcats will not be a part of that. Others that seem to be missing the cut: North Carolina will miss it, SMU, Missouri, Pepperdine, and again, then you have Florida and Iowa State are kind of right on that line. It's the top 8 that make it. So right now, both Duke and Arizona State are in, but it could get a little dramatic. We could have a playoff. I don't know exactly how their playoff situation works among teams. I'm sure they've got something in place, but should be a good continued week of golf as we get through the Women's National Championship. And then I believe the Men's National Championship follows it up this coming weekend, right? This coming weekend into the week afterwards, if I remember properly.
I believe so. Just looking at that leaderboard, it's interesting. What do you make for the huge gaps in scores? Obviously, Stanford is kicking butt at 21 under, and then huge gap, USC 12 under, and then another huge gap, 3 under, and then a bunch around par. Like, what do you think of what explains that?
Well, I think like on one hand, Stanford we know just like has the team for it, and I think the one thing that's funny just looking at it is to take away is the fact that Stanford doesn't have the individual winner right now. It's just like they have a bunch of really good players, obviously at 21 under par right now. Um, I guess I would say like you look through the other teams, and I can pop back up the screen share because I'm flipping through as I go here. You can kind of see they each individually. USC is a good example. They have three players. They have three players that are individually playing. Two players that are playing really well. One player that's playing quite well in Bailey Shoemaker, and then Kylie Chong and Elise Lee. Like it's more well rounded, I guess I would say maybe on the Stanford side, and that contributes a lot to why they're able to differentiate and win by. I mean, here it's only 9. They've won by more a lot of times this season, but yeah, I guess that would probably be what you can see here with USC as well. You have 2 players pretty deep in the red numbers, but then you have others contributing scores that are over par. And I imagine, it's like you can see Farrah O'Keefe leading the way at 12 under for the tournament. Nobody else on her team is inside the top. I guess one is tied for T40, but nobody's inside that top 40 on Texas other than Farrah O'Keefe. So she's really carrying them there. Arkansas has a couple that are a few under par, including, like we mentioned, Maria Jose Marine. I think it's just like the depth really is it becomes really important, obviously, when you're counting more than just individual scores.
Yeah, that's just the nature of match play, I guess. Especially at the college level, you're just going to have some more sporadic things happening, I'd imagine, throughout the rounds too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
Well, that's a cool update there. We will, I'm sure, get word from Nick tomorrow. When he's
I know.
back.
I was hoping he'd call in on the phone from the grounds, but I think he's unfortunately a little busy. He's actually doing real work out there, helping out the Northwestern team and everything. So, unfortunately, I don't think he's got the capacity to get on the phone with us right now. But I'm sure we'll get a couple of text updates.
We'll get the full report tomorrow from how that was. So that's pretty cool event going on over there. Okay, so from this weekend, the CJ Cup Byron Nelson, of course, Wyndham Clark wins with a 60 final round on Sunday.
Again,
pretty unbelievable. Kind of out of nowhere for Wyndham. I don't know what his odds were pre-tournament. They couldn't have been better than 4,000, I would imagine. As we said coming in, it wasn't the strongest of fields, but obviously you had Scotty, you had Siwoo Kim, you had a few good guys up there, and somehow Wyndham Clark ended up on top. How did that happen?
Yeah, it's like this was a weird one. I mean, I think there's a couple of things that stood out to me. I mean, well, one, this tournament's fun. Like, I don't care. I know it's not like the most challenging tournament in the world. I know it's not one that. Obviously Wyndham Clark finishes at 30 under par for the win. Scotty Scheffler did it last year at 31 under par. It is not a challenging course. I know we were talking right before we got on air, $25 million renovation that they put together. We talked about that ahead of the tournament as well, that they put together between last year and this year. And obviously the finishing score didn't change. And maybe, as the course settles and maybe it needs time to settle and harden, and the grass is still just a little soft after the renovation. Who knows? But I would not expect this to start being a difficult course by any means. But it's a ton of fun to watch. I mean, we started the week with Siwoo Kim. I guess that was on Friday, looking like he was almost certainly going to break 60 and join that. What is it? 14 players who have done it before, or maybe 14 of them are at 59. Just Jim Furyk, obviously at 58. It looked like we were going to have that. I think he went par bogey. No, he went par bogey to finish. Right, he was at the number.
Yeah, he was there. Finished with the bogey on 18.
Yeah, whatever. I forget exactly the sequence. Maybe he birdied 17 to get to it, and then he made that. I mean, just the adrenaline you got to be feeling. I know they were talking about it on air. They're like juiced a 6-iron from God knows how far, just so far over the green, and then you have to hit a little like flop nip wedge like onto the green, like while trying to chase 59 and make par. Seems impossible. But I know the take that I had initially about I want the PGA Championship to just go all in on being a birdie fest. Like I'm joking when I say that, but I'm also kind of not. Like this is so fun to watch. Like it would be. I know it's like you kind of don't get quite the credit for winning it. I get that, like because hot streaks are different, but like I think that should be rewarded a little bit, right? Like if you think like the U.S. Open rewards players who can keep it in front of them and manage incredibly difficult conditions. The Masters theoretically rewards the most well-rounded player. The Open is its own kind of challenge with links golf. Like, why not make the PGA Championship kind of find the guy who's just going to get crazy hot and can make a hell of a lot of birdies? And like this week, that was Wyndham Clark. But like, imagine if we had, again, we came into this week with what was it, 3 of the top 50 in the world? Like, what if we had 50 of them? Like, imagine the scores you would have seen and like some of the drama we could have had down the stretch of just birdies flying left and right. Like, I kind of have a lot of fun watching tournaments like these, and I don't think the PGA Championship really should be like this, but like also I kind of might. I don't know. Like it would be so. Imagine how much fun it would be if this mattered a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I think we saw it even with the best 2 players in terms of the world rankings in this event, Siwoo and Scotty, and seeing them play together, paired up together, and both playing pretty well. Obviously, Scotty didn't quite have the 60 round, but he was 66, 63, 65, 65. So for a 25 under finish, which is nothing to sneeze at, but he didn't go like super duper low necessarily compared to obviously Siwoo and Wyndham Clark, who both shot 60s. But it's funny, like in every other sport, in basketball and football, we've seen how the rules have been changed over the last 20 years because we want more scoring and more offense. And the golf equivalent of more scoring and more offense is seeing more birdies, more eagles, just lower numbers under par. So it's kind of a funny thing that golf has where people like to root for the courses and stuff. And you're right. I don't know if maybe you'd want to see a major finishing score at 30 under, but I think for tournaments like this, for the Byron Nelson, especially in this kind of part of the schedule where everything seems so condensed and we've just been going now for like 8 straight weeks or whatever, it's the perfect thing to kind of break it up. And obviously it was fun watching this weekend. I didn't hear anybody complaining about how much fun it was watching Siwoo chase 59 on Friday and watching Wyndham chase 59 yesterday. And just how yesterday shaped up with Scotty, Siwoo, Wyndham Clark, like all neck and neck with each other in the high 20s. Like that's still exciting. It's still fun to watch. And it's fun to watch when these guys are actually scoring. Like I like that.
Yeah. I mean, Wyndham Clark, like you said, we came into Sunday, Siwoo came at 21 under par after, a slightly disappointing 68 on Saturday. And then Wyndham Clark at 19 and Scotty Scheffler at 19. And you get a back 9 28 out of Wyndham Clark to I think it was a 7 under 28. I believe that's a par 35 on the back there, but a 28 nonetheless with an eagle and whatever it is, 5 birdies to chase down Siwoo and then also get some breathing room and have win by 3 shots there. It's a ton of fun. It's a blast. I agree. I think it is like the perfect filler event. I just think I can't help but like while I'm watching be thinking like, God, it'd be so fun to have like Rory out there, like and that's just a name, have Cam Young, have Matt Fitzpatrick out there. And I know like there's reasons that doesn't happen, and I get it. And again, I don't think the players would like it if this was a major championship, because I think you probably would get like a kind of random winner pretty often. But you already get that at the PGA, whatever. I don't need to dig myself too deep a hole there. We should really.
That's the funny thing about golf too. It's like we evaluate whether a course was good or not based on the reputability of the winner, which is kind of, I think, and I'm not like a golf purist like I think you and Nick are. I'm definitely more, kind of enjoyed the entertainment value more than I am nitty-gritty pure golf guy. And I just think that's the lamest thing in the world.
Well, it's funny because it can be great. Like I think that's what got the Masters to be so awesome, though, right? Like that's what the Masters is built on, like defining the best golfer. But I agree that doesn't need to always be the case. Like that's kind of what I like. That's kind of why I think it would be like fun to have a like.
And I think that's just you're just less likely to have that be the case as time goes on because we've talked about this. there's just more good golfers now than there's ever been. I think that's pretty safe to say, right? So you're going to have more. You're going to have different winners, and guys aren't going to be winning as frequently because guess what? It's really hard to win when there's this many good guys in the fields. And even a field like this where there was only 3 in the top 50, you still saw what guys like Wyndham Clark are capable of. By the way, Wyndham Clark this year has he had 3 top 20 finishes, 0 in the top 15 before this weekend.
Well, this was like what I wanted to get at with Wyndham Clark, and you hit on it perfectly. Is like you look at his career, just like the stat sheet, and it's like the dude's won 4 times. Obviously, the CJ Cup Byron Nelson, the 2024 AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am, which by the way was a Saturday 60 that won him that tournament because the Sunday got canceled. So he's done that twice now. And then the U.S. Open at LACC in 2023 and the Wells Fargo in 2023. And like if you just looked at those and you're like, okay, he's won a major championship. He's won the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am, and he's won 2 events on the 2 other events on the PGA Tour, all in the span of 3 years. Like that's not like if you just told me that, I'd be like, damn, he's like building a pretty good career for himself. I think the thing is that there's just nothing else. It's so weird. It's so bizarre. Like if he had just been like if that was his stat line, and then he also had like, a ton of top 10s to back it up and was consistently in the mix. But even outside of like his one, like you mentioned his 2026, I looked at his major performances in his entire career. He's got 2 top 20s and 18 starts in major.
He has to be one of the most random major winners there's been. I mean,
he is, but like
that's pretty unbelievable.
Right, but like I think that's what was so weird to me is that like yes, he is, but if you just told me that like a guy's going to win a major and have 3 other wins in the span of 3 years, you'd be like, okay, that's not that crazy. But then just the fact that he's only been in the top 20 twice, one of those being a win, and then has done he either effectively like wins or does nothing. Like you said, there's no top 15s in 2026. In 2025, I'm not counting the Hero World Championship. He had the T4 at the Open Championship and a T5 at the Texas Children's Houston Open. No other top 10s. 2024 was a little bit more consistent. He had that win at Pebble Beach, a couple second and third place finishes. But really, since like 2024, it's kind of been like.
No, his best year, I'd say, is 2023. And his best 2 years were 23 and 24. Last year wasn't great, but did have a couple top 5s and 1 more top 10.
I'm not counting the Hero World Championship.
Okay, so just a couple. So really, he hasn't been a consistently really good golfer in a couple years, and especially this year. This year, he's done absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I just think it's a funny like contrast of like purely by wins, like. Yeah, impressive PGA Tour career, and then you like zoom out, and you're like,
does that is this an indictment on the course that he wins? I mean, Scotty and Siwoo are 2 of the best in the world, and 2 of the best. Siwoo especially this year, he's 24th ranked in the world. You could argue he's played better than that in 2026, and is easily, I'd say, one of the best 20 golfers on tour right now,
especially when he's playing well, which he has been.
Which he has been and was this weekend. So for Wyndham to beat both of those guys, like that's impressive. That's like, to me, that's not just some throwaway random tournament. That's like, wow, good for you, man. Like that proves you've got something.
I think he's one of the guys. I mean, he's one of the guys that can get hot with the best of them. I mean, he's got like the distance, and when he turns it on, like what did he gain? Over 3 shots around putting this week. Like when that's working for him, when there's that combination.
I mean, he was the best putter by far.
Yeah, not even close. What is it? He gained 3.14 strokes per round. Seamus Power was second at 2.35, and it was like every round it was over 4 strokes in round 4, over 3 in round 2, in round 3, over 3. I believe actually I might be looking at that wrong, but it was over 4 in round 4. Over 2 in round 2, over 2 in round 1, over 3 in round 3, and over 4. Yeah, so it's just every time, like it was ridiculous. I think it's impressive. I wish he had more top 10s, because I think if he just like had any consistency, it would be like, okay, like I mean he's like how different is he from? I don't know. Like, I mean, he's a major championship different, but how different is he from Xander Schauffele if he just was able to also keep that like maintain any level of consistency, which he just hasn't. I mean, obviously, I know Xander's in a different world. I know that, but like, there's not really a better example because I think he's better than JJ Spawn, like in terms of other random winners. I don't know. It really impressive win, and another like again, shooting a back 928 to chase down. Like you said, you're not battling nobodies. You're battling Scotty. You're batting the only two players in this field who you probably came in thinking are better than you. Maybe 2 of 3. I guess Rio Satsune is probably up there.
So he's now ranked 44th in the world, and
he was 70.
He jumped up, 31 spots. I mean, that's pretty unbelievable.
Yeah,
but you're right. He hasn't warranted being higher than that in the last couple years. He really just hasn't. The 2023 is pretty good. That's the year, of course, he won the U.S. Open. But he started off the year okay. His first top 10 was at the RSM. Well, that was fall event. So really starting with the WM Phoenix Open was top 10. Then he was 5th at the Valspar. He was 3rd at Zurich. He won the Wells Fargo. Then a few weeks later, won the Open. Yeah, I mean, gosh, he really is just a randomly good.
Yeah, but it's very much like I'm scrolling through the world ranking right now, like his world ranking history. It's a lot of like, okay, big jump, slowly settle, big jump, kind of slowly fall back, big jump, slowly fall back, and that's what happened. Like he jumped all the way up to number 3, obviously after the U.S. Open. And then slowly over the span of the last 2 years has fallen all the way back to 78th, which was the farthest he dropped. That was what is that, 6 weeks ago? And then stayed in the 70s until this week, went from 75 to 44 in OWGR, which, I mean.
And you know what? That's how it is for most of these guys. Unless you're Scotty and you're winning 5 times in a year and you're just one of the best 3 players in the world. Like most of these guys win once every so often and are middling the rest of the time, and that's why it's so hard. Yeah,
I mean, speaking of Scotty, like another top 3 for our boy.
Easy.
It's so weird because like I'm not worried because it's Scotty and it's what is that?
Is he ever going to win again?
What was Phil's tweet last year? Joaquin Niemann is a better golfer than Scotty Scheffler.
Yeah.
Is it time to revisit that? Could he be right? No, by the way, like if anybody on the PGA Tour finished second, T14 at a major, solo 3rd, you'd be like, wow. I mean, what a run. Like, that's incredible. And with Scotty, we're like, feels odd that he hasn't won one of these. I
for sure thought after Siwoo's 60 on Friday, and then you could kind of see Scotty catching him on Saturday. And I think he did end up catching him by the end of the day. And they were either tied or a shot apart. Maybe Siwoo got to 20 and Scotty was at 19, I think.
I think it was 21 and 19 going into
21
Sunday.
and 19. And you just figured Scotty was going to be the one to overtake him.
Yeah. I mean, I thought it was pretty much wraps. I mean,
and that's happened a few times. This year, earlier in the year, we had had the slow first round and then would come roaring back. And he started off, and now he's kind of shaken that. That's not really been a topic of conversation. He's starting off fine, and he's just does enough to hover around, makes his charge, and just hasn't quite gotten over the hump.
Yeah, it's weird. I'm just trying to look back. I mean, at the PGA, he was a little too far back, but like at the Cadillac, he was T2 going into the weekend. Like Cam Young was, leading that by a lot, I guess. So you could argue that he didn't have much of a chance, but he shot 4 under par. He didn't put up a huge fight to really get in the mix for the Cadillac. At the RBC, he's second after round 3, only 3 shots behind Matt Fitzpatrick, ends up only shooting 4 under par once again, lets Matt Fitzpatrick kind of coast to that one. Obviously, it ends up in a playoff, but so I guess coast is the wrong word, but isn't able to, really fully chase him down. It's like, again, it's not it feels so dumb, like even thinking about it. I'm not trying to say I'm worried. It's just like, it's a little bit interesting that he hasn't.
It's not interesting.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's not interesting. It's not like a topic of concern. It's just like, it happened again. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And we know he's not playing next week in Fort Worth. And then, of course, we've got the Memorial, which is a signature after that, the RBC, and then the U.S. Open. So I'd guess he'd probably play the Memorial, then maybe skip the RBC, and then play the U.S. Open.
That's what I'd guess. Yeah, I don't like. Let me take a look if he. Yeah, he didn't play the RBC last year. He did play the Charles Schwab, but there was different ordering events. That was basically where the CJ Cup is now. So, yeah, I would expect he'll just play the Memorial. I think that's what we'll see from him, from Rory, from a lot of these guys. Will play the everybody will play the Memorial, and then
Well, I know Scotty. The North Texas events are important to him, and both Jordan Spieth. And I know Spieth is skipping next week. I think for the first time in his career, he's not playing.
And I saw Brooks Koepka withdrew as well. After like a T4, like I can understand withdrawing if you did a little bit better than T14 at this event, but yeah.
Why don't? That's a good segue to keep talking about other guys in this tournament. What did you think of Brooks?
I mean, it came out on he came out on Thursday with a 63 and looked awesome. I mean, what did that put him one off the lead that Taylor Moore had, who shot a 62 there, but it looked great on in round one. Was he first, or he was close to the top? Yeah, he was 8th in putting, I believe. 8th in putting with over 2.5 shots gained, which obviously we talked about it before the event that like his iron play has been among the best. It's been the putting that held him back, and he gained over 2.5 shots in both putting and approach play. Hence, the shooting 8 under par 63 and being one off the lead, but he just couldn't sustain it. Unfortunately, it was one of those things where he shot that 8 under par in round one and then lost 2.5 shots putting in round two and shot 2 under par, and then kind of balanced out 1.5. Like it was just a tale of two 18s really. And in a world where players are finishing at 30 under par, 27 under par, 25 under par, you can't really, put yourself in a position to shoot a 69, a 2 under par, and expect to really contend for this thing, even after around 163. Unfortunately, it's more of the same. I felt like I was on the Jordan Spieth ride for a second there, where he had one good round, and I was like, "Oh my God, is it all? Are we fixed? Did we figure it out? Is he back?" But putters are putters. You can get that is one part of the game where like it can get really hot. It's the luck of it can get really hot, and also just putts can happen to fall. Like everything's a percentage, right? And if you happen to hit that percentage a couple times in a row, you're going to gain 4 shots around putting.
I mean, when he putts well, I'm not inclined to think it's going to happen. I'm inclined to think, he's going to come back down to earth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he's reached that kind of spot. There's obviously some of the more top guys on the tournament, like Cam Young we saw earlier in the year. It's like he putts well on a Thursday and Friday, and you're like, oh man, he's got a great chance to finish this over the weekend. But with Brooks and like same thing, with Jordan Spieth, it's like, if he's putting well on one of these days, I'm not inclined to think this is a trend. I'm inclined to think that the law of averages are going to bring him back down to earth. And that's what happens with Brooks. He ended up only gaining 0.3 strokes putting after that start, which is kind of unbelievable.
And it's also just like the floor is lower, right? Like with Cam Young goes out there, even Scotty, and Scotty's not the greatest putter in the world. We've seen that recently. But even Scotty, Cam Young, like a lot of those guys, Matt Fitzpatrick, if they go out there and they get really hot, like I just don't. It's unlikely that they're going to go out there and lose that 2.5 shots, get that back to the field. If anything, they might just like stagnate at 0 shots and whatever. But I agree. I think it's one of those things where. But honestly, I probably would have said the same thing about Wyndham Clark, and he held it going for 4 rounds too. So it can happen.
No doubt. This is Brooks' first tournament where he has gained strokes in putting around the green, approach, and off the tee in any tournament this year, which is a good positive direction. All of those very minuscule.
Yeah.
Looking at data golf, it's very small green bars, but hey, they're all green at least for the first time.
And like we said, that's so heavily held by that 2.5 shots in round one. It's too erratic. If he could just be a little steady, round 4, it's with everything. Round 4, he hit 93% of fairways. Round 3, he hit 64. Round 1, he hit 21.
It's insane.
It's just like it's, believe it or not, those are all in the same course.
Well, honestly, it's a bit refreshing because I when we were talking about when he first rejoined the PGA Tour in those first few weeks, I remember talking about like at the Cognizant, I think I remember, where he would just play super well for the first 9 holes and then just be the complete opposite on the back 9 or the second 9, depending on which tournament we're talking about. And it was just so volatile. And now at least he's fixed that to be days and rounds instead of within one round. So I think that is progress for something. But I think, as we've seen him now play a bunch of tournaments, he's not winning any of these. He's not good enough.
No, I agree. I think, well, especially, in there's always going to be a guy like a Wyndham Clark who will, if it's not a Scotty Scheffler, is he who can, even at these smaller events, right? There's going to be somebody who gets hot and shoots a pretty low score, maybe not to the extent that Wyndham Clark did, but there's, and Brooks just doesn't seem like he's going to be that guy who's able to put it together for more than 1 or 2 rounds of tournament. And like we were saying, he's going to give them back too. If he goes really low on one day, you're not like, oh man, tomorrow might be the same, or we might get a 65. It's it's probably going to come back to earth a little bit, and we're going to end up, in that middle of the pack, which is but yeah, you just look at his results. T14 at the CJ Cup Byron Nelson, T11 at the One Flight Myrtle Beach Classic, and then in between those is the PGA Championship, T55. I know the Masters is T12. I stand on the fact that I think there's so much familiarity playing into that T12. That's just, he knows that course like the back of his hand, and that's huge at Augusta. Cut at the Texas Children's Houston Open. I don't know. It's not a bad resume. It's just a very, very unexciting and uninspiring resume for a guy.
I would argue he's been better than I thought he'd be. This year for sure.
I think that's true. I don't, and honestly, I don't even entirely remember what my expectations were, but I don't think they were super high.
How could they be?
Yeah, I think it was there was the world in which you could expect some semblance of the guy who won PGA Champ, but again, that was 4 years ago. Was it ago. What was the most recent one he won was 2023, so I guess that was 3 years ago. But before that, it was 2019. Really, it's been, what is that, 7 years since we've seen true consistency? Maybe 6 years since we've seen really good consistency at major tournaments from him.
Yeah.
2021 was good, but it's been rocky. And everybody saw in full swing when he left, the amount of confidence he had was very, very low in himself and in his career. And that's not something that makes me think that guy's going to turn around and come back. And I appreciate that he seems to have found he seems to want to win and want to try to win. And maybe he's just saying the right things. There were quotes this week of I've become really addicted to the grind again, stuff like that. Who knows? What the
is
reality?
That Chris Paul becoming addicted to the NBA Finals?
Never. Yeah. I think I might be addicted to this. Yeah. Well, yeah.
See, for Brooks, it's different though, because obviously we've seen him at the peak, and I think 2021 was kind of that last year where he was really at the top of his game, and the combination of him going and playing live and you just not playing super competitive golf for as long as he did, and then jumping back into it, it's going to take some time to kind of get that back and get your legs under you. Just playing 4 rounds of 18 holes against the best in the world. It's that's why I've been more impressed this year than I thought with him just jumping right back into it, because it is tough to do. It's an adjustment mentally and physically to be able to do that. So I think as we go into the rest of this year, but more looking for next year, with him having a full kind of off season to be able to, take a deep breath in and get over the jitters and everything that happened with him coming back and all of that. And he's kind of gotten over that now. And now you're just kind of getting your muscle memory back and training your body and your mind to try and go back to that place that you've been before. And that it exists within you. And, that's it. It just takes some time sometimes.
Yeah, I'm curious to see, as we get, next year will be the first year of it, but as we get farther down the line, depending on what happens with LIV and everything, it'll be interesting to see like the case studies of what actually was the right route back. Like on one hand, Brooks coming back immediately is great, but it also might be a lot of like you said, there's like a lot of shock value there, a lot of adjustment that needs to happen. Whereas you look at a guy like Patrick Reed, who takes the DP World Tour route, gets a couple wins, steps back. He's only really playing major tournaments right now. He's like not even playing on the DP World Tour because he already pretty much secured his PGA Tour card. I wonder if we're going to see in a couple years.
I was wondering how you were going to shoehorn Patrick Reed into this podcast.
I got to get. But I think we're definitely going to have like that conversation in the next couple years. Sure. Like what was the right way for these guys to come back to the PGA Tour? Was it just drop themselves right in, or was it take a year to refine their game? Because like whether we like it or not, maybe there's a couple exceptions to this, but a lot of the guys on Live Golf are just not.
A lot of them are. For sure.
Not grinding the same way they were. I mean, we've seen how long it took Cam Young to do anything relevant at a major championship. This PGA Championship was the first time pretty much since he's left that he's been anywhere, has made a cut. So it'll be interesting as that kind of fleshes out. But
yeah, certainly will be. Okay, I feel like before we move on to a couple of the other notable finishes, one other notable finish, we briefly talked about Siwoo, but I don't think we talked enough about him.
We didn't give him the credit he deserved.
He was awesome, continues to be awesome. This was good to see, especially since he started off the year so hot and then kind of went through a lull and then was great again with his third place finish at the RBC and then T4 at Cadillac, and then wasn't great at the Truist, wasn't great at the PGA. So it was nice to see him play well this week again. And he's just really good, man. I know he hasn't had a great major finishes or the Players even. So if you want to, say the 2.5 majors this year, he hasn't really competed. But basically every other tournament almost he has. And he's ranked 24th or whatever. He's better than the 24th best player in the world, I think.
Yeah, I mean, he has the exact same amount of top 6 finishes. I guess that's not true. I'm counting one DP World Tour event, so I guess that doesn't count. He has 6 top 6 finishes. Scotty Scheffler has 7 top 6 finishes. It's. I mean, like you said, like we have T2 at the Farmers, T3 at the WM, 3rd at the RBC, T4 at the Cadillac. Those are kind of like the obviously signature events, the big ones. That was what was really good to see because he did rack up a great start to the year before we got to signature events and faded at those signature events. It doesn't have the good major championship finishes yet, but those are real tournaments at the RBC and the Cadillac. We'll see. I'm curious to see what he does at the Memorial. I mean, like I would love to see him play well at the US Open, and it fits his game a little bit. I mean, that we saw like how sharp his approach can be when he's chasing 60. Obviously he's one of those guys that can get the ball out there and really go at pins. One of the few guys that can hunt some of the pins that obviously the US Open is going to be very, very testy with that, the same way the PGA Championship was actually. I'll be really interested to see how he does at Memorial and then at the US Open. But this was another great tournament from Siwoo. Finishes, again, pretty consistent, like 2 shots gained putting, 1 shot gained off the tee, 1.5 gained approach. 1 gained around 0.3 gained in approach and 1 gained around the greens. And that kind of sticks with, not the most consistent trend, but he tends to be pretty consistently like solid in all of them. Like it's the same thing we said with Brooks. Like I don't see like when Siwoo gets hot, I don't necessarily think that he's gonna like come back to earth the way that I expect Brooks to. Like his floor is higher.
For sure.
He's it's really fun to watch when he's hot, man. He's like also just, I think everybody saw it at the President's Cup. Was it 3 years ago now, maybe? I guess this is a President's Cup year, so maybe it was only 2 years ago. Yeah, I guess it was 2 years ago. The whole like running around with like put him to sleep thing going on. Like, I think he kind of became the people's princess a little bit. Yeah. It's fun. I mean, like he's one of those guys that I think everybody roots for now, and it's been fun to watch. Like if you just look at the little chart of like his OWGR, it's just slowly trending up, and he just keeps playing well. I totally agree. I think he's maybe 19th now after this finish.
Yeah, climbed up a few spots.
But like, what if we just look at those top 19, right? Like, I mean, there's a couple guys like JJ Spawn is still 9th thanks to that win at the Valero Texas Open. Chris Goddard is 10th. The way Russell Henley's been playing, Aaron Rise up to 14th now. Robert McIntyre is 15th. Justin Thomas 16th. Ben Griffin 17th. Sepp Straka 18th. Siwoo's a top 15 player in the world, certainly. I feel like I would be pretty comfortable saying that. I know OWGR obviously weights wins really heavily, and that's a lot of the reason that guys like.
Well, that's one of the interesting combos here. When you look at the data golf rankings compared to the WGR, and he's one of the biggest discrepancies because he's 9th in data golf's rankings overall and 19th in the OWGR. Another interesting one is Ludwig, who's 5th in data golfs and 13th in the OWGR. Rahm is 2nd versus 11th. And then who else here? Like Patrick Cantlay is 11th in data golfs and 33 in OWGR.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of wins. Like it's just got like the OWGR. Like Wyndham Clark jumps 30 spots for winning TPC Craig Ranch, where there's only 3 players in the top 50. I mean, again, great win to chase down 2 of the guys that were really high up there. I don't want to be taking credit away from him, but to jump 30 spots up into the top 50 for that is a huge jump, and just shows like the amount or the extent to which that the OWGR model, which has its perks for sure, but can certainly like boost your stock very, very quickly. Because it's like a weighted average of your finishes based on field strength over the last 2 years. So you get one win, you can really, really boost your average, like bring that weighted average up. And that's what Wyndham Clark did. But yeah, I mean, like you said, Siwoo's at 9th in data golf, 19th. It's just wins. It's just like if he knocks out one of those wins, I'm sure OWGR will catch up. Honestly, if he knocks out one of those wins, I'd imagine he doesn't move much in data golf and moves a lot in OWGR. Like he probably jumps up to around 8th in both, frankly.
Yeah. And I mean, he's obviously a Dallas guy now. And so maybe the course familiarity played a part in, as this is by far his best putting tournament of the year. And really, he only gained 0.15 strokes on approach, which is one of his worst. But he's just consistent pretty much in all facets of his game all year. I always think he's going to contend. I just don't know if he's going to win one of these majors.
Yeah, majors is a lot to ask. I mean, yeah, it's funny that he won that Players in 9 years ago. It's kind of ridiculous to think about, but
he's sneakily 30.
Yeah, 21 when he knocked off the Players. That's crazy. But I mean, I think it's weird because, like, on one hand, I really do like when he's in contention. I do feel like he has the opportunity. Like, I do feel like he's one of those guys that should be the guy to chase it down and win, and like throw down a 62 final or a 64 final, depending on the course, whatever it is.
Yeah.
To chase down a win, and he just doesn't do it really. But he does always get pretty close, and I do think he'll win something soon. I just don't know the size of the event. We'll see. But it's like,
He's been close this year, man. He's been close, and I've tried to get him over the finish line with my Magic.
You've done well.
Picks.
You've done well. Yeah.
I was hoping he was going to give me my second outright win, but I'll take a second place. Who did you pick?
I did pick Brooks. I'll take it. That's top 15. Isn't terrible.
That's pretty good.
Our guy Nick, he's not on the pod, so we can hash this out a little bit. Where did Rio Hasatsune finish? T19. Okay, top 20 from all of us is not bad. I mean, considering the field strength, maybe should be expected, but we didn't entirely embarrass ourselves this week. And once again, you kind of held up the lead there, which as you tend to do, unfortunately, it bums me out a little bit. But no, it's funny because Siwoo's, if you just I don't know, I think I was thinking that maybe he'd done better in small. It's really just kind of whenever he's playing well. It doesn't really have anything to do with the field strength. It's kind of just if he's on, and he's going to almost win the tournament. And it doesn't really matter who else is there, because when he's on, he's one of the best players in the world. But there's just kind of weeks where he's not on. And some of that maybe, Masters familiarity, PGA Championship, similar set. I don't know. There's something, if you dig into the setups, that really benefits him. But yeah, I think it's funny that it doesn't really necessarily rely on field strength or anything like that.
Yeah, definitely interesting. Okay. A couple other guys to talk about. Blades Brown. So he received He achieved special temporary membership on the PGA Tour.
Yeah.
So break that down for us.
Yeah, so he needed. This was kind of. I think we mentioned this on the preview show, but also it was talked about all over Twitter and everything that he needed a top 21 finish to solo 21st or better. I think to get special temporary membership. Basically, it means that the way they define it is you have to get a non-member has to get the amount of FedEx Cup points that the player who finished 100th the prior year got. So basically, 100th is the last person who gets a PGA Tour card the previous year, like in that guaranteed slot. So then it's just Blades Brown as a non-member was able to reach that. That's just where they set the threshold. Whatever he got there, it basically means that he no longer has any restrictions on how many sponsors exemptions he can accept. So he can play, and he'll get a lot of sponsors exemptions. Obviously, he can play pretty much whenever he wants on the PGA Tour. Should those sponsors give him the opportunity? The one thing that's interesting, though, that I saw Monday Q Info on X shouted this out, is that it's not quite like for him. It's not quite as simple as like, yeah, he has the opportunity to play in every PGA Tour event, so obviously he's going to, because again, like this only lasts for this year. This is not giving him a PGA Tour card next year. Obviously, like should he, continue to play really well and find his way into like to get into a slot where he's going to get that PGA Tour card on the PGA Tour, like yes, but he's also currently 13th in Korn Ferry Tour rankings, and the top 20 get a PGA Tour card. So it might be smarter for him to do that, to like try to allot some time to the Korn Ferry Tour to really guarantee that he gets that card next year. Because I mean, the worst thing that could happen really is he sacrifices that Korn Ferry Tour, that playing time to come to the PGA Tour, doesn't renew that PGA Tour card through the PGA Tour, and ends up losing out on the Korn Ferry Tour as well, falling outside that top 20. So obviously just balancing those priorities of obviously getting PGA Tour playing time, but making sure that he's also around next year, and this doesn't become a little, half season situation will be really important. But I mean, a good finish out of him, T14. He's not, I think we've talked about him a couple times this year. He's not a guy that's been particularly consistent on the PGA Tour, but he has racked up some good finishes. Obviously, he's not playing in the biggest events. I think the highlight, obviously, was the Amex, which wasn't actually his best finish, but was the most exciting one, where he was chasing 59 in his own right for a moment there. Had that like 4-foot putt to shoot 59, raised to the right edge, I believe. But a couple good finishes. Third at the Puerto Rico Open, T9 at the One Flight Myrtle Beach Classic, and now this T14. The CJ Cup Byron Nelson, emphasized by his good approach and putting. So it was a good finish, but I think the story there is obviously the special temporary membership, and it'll be interesting to follow to see how he kind of handles that.
Yeah, so he basically talked about how it just happened quicker than he thought it was going to happen. And now his decision is, does he stay and play the rest of this year on the PGA Tour to try and get into next year's signatures, or does he ride it out on the Korn Ferry Tour, where you have to finish top 20, right, in points, and he's 13th right now. So that's probably the safer option, is to do that. But he wouldn't be able to necessarily play in the signatures next year.
Right.
So that's kind of the decision he's between right now.
Yeah, and he already felt like he was 9th in Korn Ferry Tour going into this event, and just by skipping this one event, he's jumped from 9th to 13th. That's how many guys behind him finished decently enough to jump him. So obviously there's a lot of movement that can happen. So there's not a right answer. Obviously, I think also part of it is just like it's the PGA Tour. Like given the two options, you want to play the PGA Tour, but unfortunately, not going to be that simple for Blades. But it was a good show from him. I think another good show would be your guy Neil Shipley making the cut. Give him a brief shout, a very brief shout. Come on,
got to give him a great shout. He was straddling the cut line on Friday, and then came home clutch to finish it out great. Not necessarily great, 70, but still did good enough and held on.
Great for our guy.
Great for our guy. And you know what?
Dude,
he wasn't.
You open up his you open up the Data Golf profile. There's just a lot of red. This was again. Maybe this is a CJ Cup Byron Nelson, Craig Ranch thing. 1.5 shots gained putting out of nowhere. But, my almost 2 shots lost in approach around. It's just the driving's good. That's good. He's got the accuracy and a little bit of extra distance there going on. A lot of plus there, but just everything else is red.
Yeah, I mean, for what a disaster of a season it's been, at least he made the cut. And it's his, he finished T38 at the Myrtle and then T68 at the WM Phoenix Open. Yeah. This is by far his best putting performance. Very random. But I'll take it. I'll take the 10 fantasy points.
Yeah, it counts for something. Are there any other guys on this leaderboard that are worth shouting out? Again, it was a very top-heavy lineup, so we don't need to go too far down this board. But
no, I think if you wanted to give your prove me wrong guy a shout.
Yeah, I almost forgot. Michael Thorbjornsen did not prove me wrong. He missed the cut at this event, which is hard to do. On the number, to give him a little bit of credit at 5 under, but still. And he shot, what was his first round was a I gotta remember 68? Probably. I think his first round was a 60. Was it only a 68? I think he must have gotten off to a good start at least, because I remember looking up when I favorite all these guys as I go through on Thursday or whatever, just to make sure they're easy to track. And I remember looking up and being like, oh man, like he's gonna contend for this puppy. Like, he's gonna do better than proving me wrong. So let's see. We look at his round one. I mean, his round was a 64 in round one.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, round 2 was a 73. Yeah, 64, bogey-free 64 in round 1, and you're just like, man, he was 2 shots off the lead, 1 back of Brooks and 2 back of Taylor Moore. Man, we're gonna be in this puppy, and then just turn around, 2 birdies, 4 bogeys, 73 at TPC Craig Ranch. Like, how does that happen in back-to-back days?
That's unbelievable.
9-shot swing at TPC Craig Ranch. So I got no idea what's going on with my guy. I hope for the best. He got beat by Neil Shipley this week. That's not great. That's not what you want. But we'll see. A disappointing one. I even in my notes when we previewed this, for the prove me wrong, I put I'm gonna make it easy and set a low bar. Just give me like a top 10 or a top 15. Unfortunately, that was not a low enough bar. I needed a much lower bar, but we'll see what happens moving forward. Because I mean, that's a pretty. What happens on Thursday night that you got?
73 is insane. He must.
Well, especially at a course like this, like where the low numbers are out there, like, and you're one of the better players when you're hot. Like what? Yeah.
He must have.
He must have lost it early.
Celebrated.
I thought he had it in the bag.
I mean, maybe he went to Billy Bob's, went line dancing or something over in Fort Worth, and just could not recover in time for Friday.
I mean, just flipping through some of like the overhead shot trackers or whatever on his Friday round, he's like losing a ball to the right in the water on a par 5 that I didn't even know you could do that. Yeah, it's just laying up out of bunkers when you have it's not great, obviously. Only you can't have 4 bogeys and 2 birdies at a course like this.
No.
That's all I need to say about my guy, unfortunately.
He did not prove you wrong. Proved you wrong for one day and then proved you right next.
Yeah. It was a Jordan Spieth experience for me on Brooks and Michael Thorbjornsen this week. Yeah.
What are you going to do? All right. Well, I'd say that's plenty Byron Nelson recap. Pretty much made everything we need to. Any major update? I guess this didn't really do anything for Wyndham Clark since he already had the 2023 Open, U.S. Open.
There's not much. I'll be real quick. Yeah, Wyndham Clark didn't need anything, so he's all good. Already was. This helps the OWGR status, obviously, but whatever. Michael, the OWGR top 50 this week got into the Open Championship. The only name that got in really close to the bubble on this alone was Michael Kim. He had tweeted about that. I also mentioned the 68th Korea Open this week. The highest finisher that was not otherwise exempt got into the Open Championship. That's Ji-Ho Yang will be in the Open Championship after winning the 68th Korea Open. That's all I got. Nothing too crazy.
Okay. You want to take us around the world real quick? What else happened?
Yeah, I'll do a quick little circumnavigating the globe with the boys here. Soudal Open on the DP World Tour. Richard Stern gets his 7th DP World Tour win, his first since 2013. The Joburg Open in 2013. 13 years and 4 months between his most recent DP World Tour wins. I don't know if that's a record. I'm sure somebody tweeted it out. If it is, it's got to be pretty damn close.
Yeah.
Pretty incredible. He was also a 2013 Ryder Cupper, which I did not. Oh, sorry, no, President's Cupper, which I did not know. President's Cupper in 2013. On the Corn Ferry Tour, meanwhile, we had Doc Redman win for the second time in a playoff. He had already won at the Estara Chile Classic this year. He made a long eagle on a playoff hole. It was one of those ones where it like really long putt, sits on the edge of the cup for like 5 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
The final roll in.
The best.
He didn't even need it, actually, because a birdie would have won. But a long eagle putt was way cooler. Defeated Hunter Eichhorn and is now second in the Corn Ferry Tour points list behind only Ian Holt. And then one level down on PGA Tour Americas at the Kia Open de Ecuador, Joey Savoy, 21 under par, beat Jack London, another playoff. Birdie on the third playoff hole, his first PGA Tour Americas victory. And then finally, Champions Tour, the one that really matters. Trophy Hassan 2 out in Morocco. Scott Hend wins by 5 shots over Stephen Alker and Tommy Gainey. And I already mentioned what happened over in Korea at the 68th Korea Open. So that's it. That's all I got. That's our circumnavigation. We made it.
Nice. I mean, it's just a busy time in the golf world, honestly. Just a lot of tournaments going on.
No weeks off.
No, not for us. Maybe for Nick, not for us.
Yeah, maybe for Scott Shep, Rory McIlroy, not for us, though. We work harder, really.
Yeah, for Rory, certainly. Who knows when we'll see him again.
Memorial, that's it. That's the only
thing. Yeah. Okay, so we will be back here either tomorrow or Wednesday with little Charles Schwab preview, and we will get Nick's report from the NCAA championship. Can't wait to hear from him. Check out our official picks we will make, and we will post those on Wednesday or whenever right after the episode. So you can get all of that in. Our Twitter X is at Center Cup Pod. Our Instagram and TikTok at centercup.pod. Do I even read the email? Anybody gotten in there?
No. They know it's scrolling down bottom. Anybody who needs to know knows already. It's okay. Farrah O'Keefe's too busy winning out in Carlsbad to be emailing me at the moment, unfortunately.
Yeah. Somebody.
I wonder what's going on out there. Do we have any updates over there? Did Farrah O'Keefe win? She's through 16 with a 2-shot lead. So
okay. So that's looking good for her then.
And it looks like it'll be Pepperdine and Iowa State and Florida that all miss that top 8. It'll be Arizona State, Duke, Texas, Arkansas, Eastern Michigan, Oklahoma State, Southern California, and Stanford in that top 8 team match play.
Eastern Michigan.
I know. I was about to say, is Eastern Michigan a powerhouse? Should I know this?
Good for them.
Who knows?
Yeah, that seems very random.
Maybe they just got a team. Maybe they're just really great.
Who is the most famous Eastern Michigan alum you can think of? The only one I can think of is Max Crosby. That's it.
Are there any? Did anybody else ever graduate from Eastern Michigan?
I'd imagine there are others.
Eastern Michigan. I'm curious now. Oh, my computer's freezing on me. Eastern Michigan. Come on, give me something here. Famous alums. Rodney Slater. Dan Floric. I'm ashamed to admit I don't know who a lot of these people are. George Gervin, Eastern Michigan.
Oh, wow.
There you go. There's a good one. That's kind of the only one I see here. Yeah, there's a good one. That's probably, I guess, George
the
Gervin,
Iceman.
Crosby.
The original Iceman, George Gervin.
All right. I got to go get this shit figured out of me with a horror movie now. I'm excited.
Yeah, have fun at that. Let us know what that's like. We'll do if anybody wants to email Will movie reviews, you can do that too.
I'll give you guys a review tomorrow when we talk, or whether it's tomorrow or Wednesday. You'll get a review of Obsession and how scared I'll be tonight. How many nights I needed on when I went to bed tonight.
All right. Thank you, as always, for listening, everybody, and we will catch you next time.